Hey guys, at the top of the show, I just wanted to let you know we recorded episode 4 and we realized after it was done that the camera audio recorded, but the microphone audio did not. I worked with it best I could and got the best sound that I could get going, and episodes late because of it, but it's the best that I could do, and hopefully it's not too annoying to listen to. And thanks for understanding. Hope you enjoy the show.
We will try harder next time.
Coming to you from Kansas City. Welcome to the Buck and Bob Take On Chiefs Kingdom, a podcast for fans, by the fans, bringing you the latest news, analysis, and spirited discussion about what's happening around Chiefs Kingdom.
I'm Buck. I'm a lifelong Chiefs fan with a passion for yelling at the refs and coaches via the TV.
And I'm Bob, your go-to guy for bad takes and upsetting listeners.
Together, we bring a unique blend of expertise, enthusiasm, and fan perspective to every episode. So whether you're a diehard Chiefs supporter or you just love the game of football, join us as we dive into the world of the Kansas City Chiefs.
How about those Chiefs?
How about them?
Yeah, man. We need to get... That's the next thing we need for the podcast. We need teleprompters.
All right.
So we could look at the camera.
Look them up on Amazon this week.
It can't be that expensive, right? Oh, man.
Free delivery.
All right. Well, what do we got here? What do we got here for the episode? We still don't have a ton of stuff going on. We got a lot of ifs on the roster and stuff. But what do you have for the start here, Buck?
Yeah, I mean, the injuries, same old stuff. Nothing groundbreaking on the injury front. What was it? B.J. Thompson. We're still unknown on his guess of a return, which is, the guy that had the cardiac arrest during the OTAs. So we're watching that. Again, as we've said every episode so far, as soon as training camp starts and we get into the season, they're going to be a lot more upfront with what's happening there. So, nothing groundbreaking in the injury front. So today I figured we'd just, as you're scrolling through Facebook or whatever social media thing you have, there's all those conversations where people are like, how many touchdowns, how many wins, and all that, right? So let's kind of dive into that. I think it could be a little bit of fun.
It's fun. Completely impossible to actually guess, but
oh no, we're nailing it. Somebody, one of us is gonna guess the right number for sure. And I've got stats. So let's talk about the big one. Everybody wants to know how many touchdowns are Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce going to connect on in 2024. Keep in mind, during the regular season, 23, they only hooked up 5 times. It was a kind of an off year.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. See, that's what's so hard. Patrick, other quarterbacks in the past have been a lot easier to judge because they, are going to their one main receiver a ton.
Yeah, but when Gonzalez was the tight end, I mean, we knew it was going to be, 15 touchdowns for Gonzalez and then 2 or 3 for the receivers.
Yeah, we could guess that Kelsey's going to get around 1,000 yards, but the TDs are a little tough. But I would say, and they're going to play him a little less because he's getting older, and they're trying to keep him ready. If he has it his way, he's in every play. But Andy Reid's the boss, so I don't know. I would say 6.
All right, I think that he's going to have 8, and I think that this new love, right, this new relationship has got him all gassed. He's all juiced up on endorphins, right? I think he's going to get 8, and with the success in the Super Bowl and the playoffs last year too, he exploded. So physically, we know he can do it. I'm sure there was some,
but this is for the regular season.
Yeah, regular season. Yeah.
Not for
so yeah, I mean,
playoffs.
He went 5 last year. I don't think he's going to jump up to 15, but I think he can do 8 to 10. So I said 8. I don't think he's going to get 10 during the regular season, but he might get 10 during the playoffs.
It'll be interesting to see how it comes back because I think Mahomes is going to spread it around quite a bit this year. if our receivers could catch this year.
Yeah, I mean, even if they can catch just half of the drops that they did last year, it's going to make for an amazing season. So if he gets 8, how many touchdowns do you think Mahomes is going to get in total? Last year he only had 27.
Yeah. I would say 30.
Yeah.
Go with 30.
All right, Bob thinks 30. I think he's going to go 40 plus again this year.
You think so? Wow.
I do. I think that last year, again, if the receivers did just half of the drop passes, I think he would have been well into the mid 30s last season.
I don't know. You might be right though. I just think back. Basically, everybody's strategy is to keep Mahomes off of the field. That's been the strategy for a few years now, and he got away with some amazing stuff early on, but now they gameplay specifically for him on those, and so it makes it harder for him. But at the same time, I mean, you think back to when Brady was dinking and dunking, and then all of a sudden had a receiving core with Randy Moss and others like that one year, and he went and just blew up. And I don't know if he came close to the record or beat the record. I don't remember that year, but it was absolutely on fire. So
well, you say
you definitely are. I mean, you definitely have your guess makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you say he got a lot of they got away with a lot early on, but even though they only had 27 last year, the year before he had 41. So I mean, early on and recently. So keep in mind, in his first season, he had 50, right? So he came back in 2019 with only 26, and then he bounced back in 2020 with 38 again. So I mean, if the receiving, I mean, we're so excited about this receiving core. I can't imagine the drop passes issue being nearly what it was last year. It's almost monumental how bad it was. To me, it feels. I don't remember a season being that bad.
I'm just more of the realist guy, so I'm always under guessing, and then it's the same thing in everything in life.
Exciting.
I'm just like, I'm expected to get this, and then if I get more, I'm just more excited. I'm a realistic expectation guy. Maybe a little too real.
Okay, so what's your floor number then? The number that you have to hit to not be disappointed for
30.
the season. 30?
Yeah.
So if 30, you'll be happy.
Yeah.
See, I wouldn't be happy with 30. I think 35 would be my floor. I say not happy. I just wouldn't be. I don't know.
All that matters to me is that W's.
27. If they only get 27 again, I'm going to be disappointed for sure.
If they run the ball a ton and all of a sudden they're giving the TDs to the goal line TDs to all the running backs, like I'm still gonna be happy. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it could always play out differently depending on their strategies. So yeah, it'd be cool to watch Mahomes go nuts, but also it's just cool to get the W.
Yeah,
whether it's 7-3 or 45-10.
Yeah, well, it's definitely more exciting for the 45-10.
You have to remember, with our defense being as good as it is, Andy Reid is old school.
Yeah,
there's a lot of these new. It's not smart. Like smart is honestly to run the score up like Bill used to do.
Is it?
It is the smarter play, stat wise, everything. It's just better for your team overall. Maybe not injury wise, but to keep the pedal to the metal is. So if we go up early, Andy's going to bench. He's going to bench Mahomes in the fourth quarter at times, and he's going to bench Kelsey, and he's going to rest him, and he's going to be respectful as well as cautious. That's what I think. So if our defense stays good, I don't think we ever run the score up big time.
If we're up 45-10 in the fourth quarter, he might take Mahomes out. Now, taking Kelsey out, I absolutely agree with. I think that's going to happen a lot more this season, just to kind of keep him fresh. But taking Mahomes out, we've all seen what happens when he tries to take Mahomes out when he only has one good leg. You're going to try and take him out because the score is a little high. He's going to absolutely flip his shit. I don't think that Andy Reid wants that heat on a regular basis. Maybe at the end of the season.
I don't think Andy cares. I think Andy is just going to be like, sorry.
I don't think he cares as far as the grand scheme of things, but I do think he cares about keeping. He's got to keep Mahomes on his side. They have to be for this team to do what we want them to do. They have to mesh, and they have to have that cohesion. Yeah. And I think that if there's too much abrasion, we start seeing ripples.
Well,
I don't think Andy Reid's going to do that.
I would have to hope that, and I'm pretty sure he's not, but I would have to hope that Mahomes is not a prima donna and knows that Andy's the boss. Like I can't stand players that don't respect the coaches and what the coaches say. Like he's just like Judge Judy. He's the boss, applesauce, and Kelsey knows that. Kelsey gets pissed, comes back and he apologizes to Reid, but he does what he's told, and I think that's something that they all do, and I think Mahomes respects that. Mahomes didn't want to go out because the game was on the line. He's been taken out in the fourth quarter, fine, and Andy, and he's completely fine with that as long as we're going to win the game. So I disagree with you in that would upset him, because I think he understands the grand scheme of things as well, and he cares about W's, not about stats, and he cares about championships, not about games.
All right. When this comes up in the regular season, we're definitely going to talk. We're bringing this back up again. I can't wait to see how that plays out.
Okay.
All right. So if we're talking 30, so you said 30, I said 35. So let's just go with 30. All right. So who gets your 30? You said Kelsey's going to get 7, right? So 23 more.
I said 6.
Oh, you said 6.
Yeah, I said 6. I went low ball.
All right.
I think he's still going to get around 1,000 yards, though. He hasn't been that end zone threat for a little bit.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know.
Yeah, he doesn't have the big, long, 45, 50, 60-yard, runs after catches anymore. He just, he has way less than he has in the past.
I will say, yeah, and he isn't gonna, he's never been one of the guys that looks cool running. Like, if you think about a tight end that looked cool running, I think about Jeremy Shockey. And he'd catch that ball, and he'd just tuck his head, and he'd come right down like a
fullback.
Like a cannonball, yeah. And Kelsey's always run kind of awkward, but I think that's what makes him so good at his cuts and so good at getting open. He gets some hips low, but it doesn't look cool like a lot of people do. And Patrick Mahomes is the same way. Patrick Mahomes does not look cool when he runs.
Oh no.
When he looks very weird.
He almost looks like he's an old man with bad knees.
Well, when he runs, he just looks a little awkward. It's when he does his little jog thing.
Yeah, so between the plays.
Yep. But I love it to death. I think that is cool that they're different, that they have something that's very unique. But I don't see Kelsey getting those ups and everything and fighting for the ball in the end zone much. And he just hasn't been that guy for a bit. But I do think he gets 7 touchdowns overall, 6 receiving, and 1 passing.
You think?
Yep. Whether it be a lateral or it be an actual pass, I think he finally gets his passing TD.
You think he gets it passing to Mahomes then?
Oh, that'd be hilarious.
I think they're going to push that. I really do over the next year or two. I think Kelsey wants that before he retires. more than anything.
You think so?
I really do.
What leads you to believe that? Has he ever said anything?
Just look at them. They're best friends. You don't think that they've had, they talk all the time about creating plays for Andy, right? And he's so open to letting his players do that. So you know that those guys they're all trying to come up with the golden play, right? And you don't think the fans want Kelsey to throw it to Mahomes more than any other combination on the team. I mean, we all want to see a lineman score. That's always fun to see. A defensive guy score. That's always fun to see. But Kelsey throwing it to Mahomes, they've tried it. They tried it a couple of times.
I can't wait we're going to get to, when we get to go to training camp, we might get to see plays run like that. I'd love to. That'll be really fun to see if we get a chance to do that. So I'm hoping we get a chance to actually go to the training camp, because I haven't been to a training camp since we had Larry Johnson.
That just brings shivers to my spine, man, hearing that name.
Yeah, it brings shivers to my spine thinking about the name Lejo and Dejo.
Larry Johnson and Daryl Johnson, man.
Derek Johnson.
Daryl Johnson. Derek Johnson.
Yeah.
He was awesome.
For anybody that's just heard me say Lejo and Dejo, it was the nickname used around town in a lot of circles, and it drove me nuts. And Jason loved that it drove me nuts.
Absolutely loved it.
So he'd say it all the time.
Just saying it, he would be like, "Stop it!"
Oh, it was horrible.
And that's why I did it. So yeah. So what do you think as far as who's going to get those touchdowns? So there's a few names I've got all the wide receivers and tight ends on the team listed here. A lot of these names, unless you're following really closely, you're probably not going to recognize. But let's just kind of touch on a few of them. We've got Xavier Worthy, everybody's really excited about. He's got a touch of an injury right now. He's just on the report. He's expected to be in training camp, so we're not expecting anything him to miss any games for sure.
But he's a rookie. Everything's up in the air with
absolutely, 100%.
But he's going to
start.
I saw footage yesterday. He's been working out on his own with Rashee Rice. Oh wait, no, Hollywood Brett.
Yeah, Hollywood.
It was Hollywood. Okay, yeah.
So yeah,
Hollywood and Rashee Rice have been working out together, and a few of the running backs have been working out together too.
Yes, that's awesome when they get together, because then you're not only working out, but you're getting that camaraderie, and I think that's key to an Andy Reid team. I think that's part of the success is the way that these guys get along.
Well, and I hope Rashee Rice is getting advice and stuff, and taking advice, and even Hollywood Brown. I said it when I was in IAT. I moved up, to the top, systems engineer, network engineer, and once I got to that top level, all my colleagues kind of looked down on like the young help desk guys, which I always thought was crazy. They were cutting off their nose to spite their face, because yes, the help desk guys probably learned more from me, right? But man, I learned a bunch from them, because I was willing to listen to them, and they're the young crew coming up, and they'd be like, "Oh, well, you could do this," and it's something that I had not seen, and stuff's changing all the time. So I always was even getting better because I was willing to listen to the young guys, whereas a lot of these older guys that were doing my job with me were stuck in their ways, and they just thought the young guys had nothing to offer. So hopefully they're learning from each other, and I just don't know what Rashee Rice is like. I still have a bad taste in my mouth from the Super Bowl when he, went at Mahomes, and I never heard if he apologized to Mahomes or not. But just like Mahomes and Andy Reid, well, in the case of Rashee Rice and Mahomes is the boss. Like, what are you doing? So that, and then of course, the video of him laughing as he walks away from the car wreck just gives me just a bad tickle in the back of my throat. But he's a young kid, and who knows his mental state at that time. He might have been laughing as a mechanism,
defensive mechanism, yeah,
because he just didn't know how to process what had just happened, and his friends were laughing or something. So I try not to judge too much, but I just hope that
we just don't know
he's
everything.
really getting it together, and I hope that he's learning from Hollywood, and I hope Hollywood can learn some stuff from him. And
I think we're going to find out really, really early on in the season how Mahomes feels about him, whether he apologized and got things straight. Because last year he was such an important, integral part of the receiving team because he was the only one catching the ball.
mm-hmm.
But I think this season it's going to be so different. Mahomes is going to have so many different targets. What's his motivation to throw to Rashee Rice other than
Kelsey set it on new heights early on when he was talking about Mahomes, and Mahomes tells every receiver, like, they try to ask him what's the best way for you to throw it to me more often, and he's like, you get open, dog. I'll throw it to you. I can't do his voice. Kelsey even
can't sound like Kermit.
Kelsey did a bad one, but it even was better than that. But yeah, he's and I don't think he sounds like Kermit, but whatever. I think he just has a very interesting voice, very like throaty. I don't know how to describe it, but I don't think he sounds like Kermit the Frog. Because I can do it, Kermit the Frog, a little better.
A little better.
I don't think that sounds like him. So I'm not going to get on that bandwagon. But yeah, I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, he just basically says, "Get open." And the biggest thing I think is when plays break down, the receivers that get open for him, that keep the play going. I think he's going to always look to them more, and they're going to get more touches. So if he learns how to do that, that's what Kelsey does. That's what Hill was so good at too. Like, Hill would always just keep going after the play was dead, and a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes is someone you do that with. It's probably a learned skill for a lot of people that haven't played with a quarterback like him. Because the majority of the quarterbacks in the league, once a play is broken down, most of the time it's broken down, and it's that
they're done running.
Yeah, you think about Lamar Jackson; he's not really going to probably throw it to you once it's broken down. He's going to run.
Yeah.
Same with Josh Allen. I mean, so there's not a lot of people because that's what's so cool about Mahomes, and I know everybody at home knows this. I'm a broken record for everybody, but he throws so differently than everybody else because of his time at shortstop. He can throw across his body like no quarterback we've ever seen. Most quarterbacks they can do that, but not as good. So it's a low percentage chance. So they're not going to try to do that,
and it always gets picked off, right? And
yeah,
you always hear that he was throwing the other way, throwing the opposite way of his body motion. But Mahomes is, absolutely one of the best at doing that. We'll see what happens as he gets older. You lose arm strength, you lose some of that, but his success rate is unmatched for sure.
Well, if you watched his training regimens and how he keeps training and has the weird trainings he does, they had it all on is it on Netflix? The quarterback, I think, is just what the show was called. Mm-hmm. It was him and two other quarterbacks, Kirk Collins.
Then Kirk Cousins,
and then the guy
from Detroit.
He was playing for the Falcons. I forget his name, but
I can't think of any Detroit players.
No, he was on the Falcons, I think. The other guy, you said Detroit.
Yeah. I don't know. It was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, he was on two different
or
teams.
even 3 years ago. Yeah, it's been a minute since that show was on.
I honestly just got tuned out for his parts. I really
Yeah.
liked Kirk Cousins and Patrick Mahomes.
Kirk Cousins was very entertaining. You know, he's so clean, and it's like I never root for that guy. I'm always rooting for the underdog, and he is kind of an underdog, but his attitude is so infectious.
Purely clean cut.
Yeah,
and
really.
he let his team get a laugh by taking his shirt off, and everybody on the team put their gold chains on him.
Yeah,
And he's just shirtless.
he's not
with the
afraid
gold
to make
chains.
fun of himself a little bit.
Yep, yep. And he did it, for the team. The team loves that, and he really is just some of the stuff he said. When you're like, oh, you are so
Corny.
cute. You are really serious, aren't you?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, everybody thinks that that's what all Midwesterners are like,
Yeah, right.
type of deal. Like
Yeah.
if they're on the coast. Oh, but yeah. So, yeah. But I think Mahomes is going to stay strong. But yeah, that's what I was just big tangent. But basically, receivers have to kind of learn that, and I think you see that when they kind of come. And you'll see them shutting down, and then they start to, realize, oh, if I keep going, he could maybe get it to me.
Yeah, well, I think it's pretty well understood too. I think Andy Reid drives that into them. Like, we're gonna actually, it's probably more Mahomes driving it into him than anybody.
Probably,
but you keep going. Give me a chance, and I'll give you a chance. Travis Kelce, he's probably screaming it more than anybody. So yeah. So all right. So who do you think is going to be our top receiver as far as touchdowns? Then, just real quick, we got Worthy, right? The rookie Worthy. We got Justin Watson. You never know what he's going to do. We've got Kadarius Toney, right? He could play a part.
I don't know that he's going to make the team.
Yeah.
I think we go with five receivers tops.
I'm so scared that he's going to make the team. Nothing against the guy personally. I'm sure he's a nice guy, whatever. But man, when you tip the ball up for an interception, as much as he did last year, I can't get that out of my mind.
It isn't just that though. The biggest thing for me is the injuries. And we had heard he was kind of a prima donna when we got him from the Giants, but Andy Reid has been able to work with guys like that, so the upside looked good. We didn't give up much for him at all. He did do some plays for us. The year prior, he really had some really good plays in the Super Bowl, and I think he had upside, but then he's been hurt, I think, more often than not hurt.
Yeah.
While he's been on the team. That was knocking him on the Giants. Also, the Giants, some people claimed that he wasn't really hurt and just, he might. And he's gotten into it with fans on Twitter and stuff. This is complete speculation, but his injuries might be mental issues. It could very easily be something I suffered from in the past, anxiety. And when you have when you're having a breakdown, it just keeps compiling on itself, and you can't make it to work. And that happened to me a lot when I was, first starting my career when I was younger. And I just wonder if it's something like that, because that a lot of people don't realize how debilitating mental things can be also. So I wonder. I don't know. He's got so many question marks.
And a lot of these young guys, it's a macho thing. They don't want to be vulnerable and be seen in that light that they might have some kind of mental issue. So they just tuck it away and don't say anything. Yeah.
I didn't tell anybody.
He might not even know. He might not even realize that that's what's happening.
I didn't tell anybody, and my bosses at the time. I didn't even tell you. You were working with me during some of it, and my bosses, would just think that I was hungover and didn't want to come to work. But the truth of the matter was, sometimes I couldn't even call. I'd have to have my wife call. I mean, it was horrible. And so I just let them believe that I was a screw up rather than actually tell them, hey, I've got a problem. Which would have been a lot better, probably. And I probably could have been talked into getting help sooner. Because now I'm fine. I don't have it at all, but I got help. You know, so.
Yeah, and we're not claiming it by any means that that's what's happening.
Yeah, it's just total speculation.
You just see something that looks familiar.
Yeah, I don't want to judge anybody based on it's so hard.
We only get to see what they show us.
We only know the facts that are available, and that was just a speculation. But he freaks me out because of all of those factors, and just him not being there for games. And then the drops last year were just atrocious. And the fact that 2 of the drops were interceptions, one for a TD, that was rough. And it just sticks in fans' minds, you know.
Yeah, as a fan, for me, the way I feel about Kadarius Toney is whatever his issue. If it's a mental thing, I hope he gets help. If it's not, if it's just a mental block, you know, because he's one of those macho guys or whatever. As a fan of the Chiefs, I would rather not take any kind of chance and maybe just kind of move into the future with other guys that are available to us. And if he goes off to whatever other team in the NFL, I don't care. Let him go to the Raiders. And if he has success there, awesome, good for him. But we have, from what I've seen, I'm done with what I consider the Kadarius Toney experiment. I've seen enough. If they keep him, you know what? I love Andy Reid and I trust him. He's going to make what he believes is the best moves for the team. So if he makes the team, I trust that Andy Reid is making the best move that he sees possible. But as a fan, I don't really want to be talking about Kadarius Toney in 2 months. I really don't.
Yeah, I just don't see room for him on the team. So I think we go with 5 wideouts, right?
Yep.
And I think we go with Worthy.
Yep.
Watson.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Where's he at? Hollywood Brown. Hardman.
That's it for receivers. Get the tight ends there.
And Sky Moore. That's what I think has made the team right now, and I think that's possible. He takes 6. But then
Justin Ross?
It's possible. I don't know who the 6th becomes. Or wait, sorry. Rasheed Rice. Sky Moore, not Sky.
Oh, yeah.
Sky Moore's the maybe. So Worthy, Watson, Rice, Hardman, and Brown, I believe, make it. Watson, I don't know that I believe in, but I know Mahomes believes in him hardcore, and Reed seems to also. So
I do. I don't think he was part of the problem last year.
I just have never really thought he was anything that amazing, but you know, he was a deep threat that kind of stretched the field for us. But I don't think he's that amazing.
I don't think so. He didn't get a lot of separation, right? All of his catches were contested. He was just really good at coming down with the ball himself, or at very least, knocking it down. But I don't ever remember him getting wide open, anything like that. It wasn't anything spectacular, but I think he's a tough receiver, and he's not afraid to take some hits.
And I don't know. We might take 6. It's very possible, but then again, we might take 3 running backs this time around too. We might have that new guy that looks like a fullback that runs like a fullback that we're like testing out right now. Also, is there going to be room for our guy from the UK,
Reece Zammit?
Zammit, yeah. Is there going to be room for him? I just don't. Everything is up in the air for these other guys, I think. Yeah. And Justin Watson could easily maybe not make it, but I don't see Tony in a spot. I don't see Justin Ross in a spot. I mean, Nico Rubio, I think, goes to the practice squad and maybe gets some time playing if somebody gets hurt. I don't even know who Phillip Brooks is. And,
yeah.
So, yeah, I just don't know. I don't know.
I think a lot of these guys are just getting
room for Tony.
Yeah, I think a lot of these guys are just putting their names in some video together for other teams, practice squads and whatnot. And
then also Rasheed Rice, everything could be thrown in the,
Right.
because if Rashee Rice gets, an 8-game suspension, then another receiver makes it. So I think Sky Moore has a good chance of making the team. I don't think Kadarius Toney does.
I think, for Rashee Rice, I'm really getting to the point where I think he's going to just play this season, and whatever happens is going to happen next season. Because as soon as the season starts, from what I understand, they're not going to start a suspension in week 2, right? It's going to be a beginning of the season type thing. So I really do. It just seems like things are trending in that direction.
So your initial question was, who do I think is going to have the most TDs?
Yes, out of those.
Well, out of those?
Well, those are your receivers, right?
Well, I think Kelsey's going to have the most TDs. I think with 6. I think Mahomes is going to spread it around to all of those guys, hit my 30, and it's going to be about 4 to 5 TDs for each wideout.
I think Hollywood Brown is going to reach double digits. I think he's going to hit 10. I think he's going to be our top guy.
So.
I do. For regular season, yeah.
I don't know that he's hit double digits in his career yet, but he's also been playing for a different team. I'd have to look up the stats.
Yeah, I didn't look that up because I was thinking about this when I was coming over. Like, who do I really think is going to be the standout receiver? And I think there's a good chance it could be Worthy. I really do, but I think it's going to be one of those two. And I just know Hollywood Brown has had a little bit more time with Mahomes one-on-one so far. I just know that they were on the phone together day 1, minute 1. Like, let's go. So I think they're trying to force or trying to bring that the same kind of cohesion that Kelsey and Mahomes have. I think they're trying to get that going with Brown, and if that happens, man,
I just don't want the Tyreek Hill problem back. And I know a lot of people don't see it as a problem, but I saw it as a problem towards the end of his time in Kansas City. We think we talked about this on one of the episodes. No, it wasn't the prima donna.
Okay.
Well, yeah, that was probably what led into him getting them. They just tried to force feed it to him way too often, and it made us very predictable on offense. Whereas early on, Mahomes was throwing it to everybody, and we were just on fire. And then, the last year Tyreek was here. The last year Tyreek was here, we were forcing it to him so much that I thought it was just a bad thing for the team.
You really think so?
Yeah, I mean,
it's possible. It's possible.
It makes you a lot easier to game plan against. Whereas if you've got 4 guys that you go to a lot, then what do they do? Who do they double? It makes it so you have a lot more room to wiggle on offense.
Yep. I mean, I understand the theory, but I think that Hill was so good and so fast that he was still, most double teams he was still beating, and it didn't matter what you did defensively. I mean, they were going to beat you, and if it wasn't with Hill, then they were going to go to Kelsey because you couldn't triple team everybody.
We just have to agree to disagree on this one.
I don't necessarily disagree with you on this. I really don't. You got a very valid point.
Our offense improved the year after he left, and our receiving core was not great. And I mean, our best receiver, as far as non-tight end, was what's his name? The TikTok dancer, Juju.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was good, but he was kind of a slower, over the middle, big receiver that just a possession guy that really brought us down the field. And I mean we had a better offense that year, and so I don't know. I just don't want to get to the point to where we'd be game planned, because we saw it with the Bengals. The Bengals. They beat the crap out of us with Chase, and then every time we've seen them after that, we've locked up Chase, and Chase hasn't gotten anything, and their offense has stuttered. So it's a problem for a lot of teams when you get like a star wideout that you're trying to force it to. I think a star tight end seems to always be better if you're forcing, because they're just, I don't know why. It just seems that way statistically.
Yep.
I haven't looked it up though, so I could be wrong on that. But you guys can tell us in the comments or write in. So
Please leave some comments, good or bad.
Tell us how dumb we are. We hope to learn a lot doing this show. We say it all the time. This is a show for the fans by fans. We don't claim to be, NFL analysts at all. So we love the conversation.
Definitely. So speaking of dumb, I think we're kind of running low on time here because I know that you got to get going. So the next thing up on my list was just thoughts on the Hallmark Chiefs movie that's coming up.
And I have no idea what you're talking about, but I didn't ask because I wanted to hear it.
I was going to read through the whole thing, and I think we're going to skip that for now. Maybe we'll talk about it a little bit next week. But look it up on Google. It's nothing earth-shattering. It's not going to be on anybody's top Christmas movies to watch. It's a Hallmark movie. Keep that in mind. It is what it is.
So people love those Hallmark movies.
But I wanted to take a moment to talk. We've been doing a Player of the Week.
Well, hold on. You got to tell me what this is. I haven't heard anything about it. What is it about? Like, is it about Mahomes? Right. Is it about...
No. It's not about any of the players, coaches, anything. It's a Hallmark movie. It's a Hallmark movie where somebody loses, I believe it's a key to the stadium, but I don't even think they're going to use the real stadium. I think it's going to all be a set thing. There's nothing specific. They literally could have plugged in any team, and it would have taken them a day or two to rewrite to specifics. Instead of talking about the Kansas City Chiefs, they're going to talk about the Minnesota Vikings, whatever.
So they specifically, I wonder if they had to get permission from the Chiefs for that. And
I'm sure.
Well, it's interesting because my wife, she just recently watched Ballers, and I remember I was doing something in the kitchen. I was just catching the end of like the last episode, and spoiler alert if you're gonna watch Ballers at some point. But I won't do a spoiler. I'll just say the team that was controlled by somebody was the Chiefs. They had become the owner of the Chiefs somehow, and I didn't ask her what it was, but I was just like, I wonder if they had to get permission for that. But that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And so
I don't think it was a permission thing. I think the Chiefs are probably getting a little cut of the money. And Hallmark is based out of Kansas City too, so a lot of people don't know that. So there's already a little bit of a relationship there, I'm sure. Anyway,
I don't even know if the Chiefs would charge them anything because the Chiefs are starting to grow now. We're getting fans all over the place, which is bringing up, the team's market, which could be just really big. I was thinking about the Royals too. I was in Seattle at whatever the Seattle's baseball team is last week. I was there, and the stands were completely full. It's a downtown stadium, and I was just thinking to myself, they could actually get a lot of people to come to a lot more games if that is downtown, and that could increase the market size for the Royals and let them actually get some more players too. So I think the Chiefs are going through that right now, where the team's worth is actually just flying up compared to what it was, but. We do need to move on.
And I really wanted to give this a minute here. We've been talking on every episode. We've got a highlight of a player of the week, right? This last week, marked the 41st anniversary of the death of Joe Delaney. Joe Delaney was a rising star in the early 80s. He was drafted by the Chiefs in his rookie year. Now, the stats don't really correlate, right? We're talking about 40 years ago. So, a 500-yard receiver was kind of a big deal back in the day. So I didn't get the stats, but he was, comparing apples to apples, in his rookie year in 81, he finished 9th in Offensive Player of the Year. And then third in Offensive Rookie of the Year. So what Joe did is of epic proportion to that, right? So he was such a great rookie, but in real life, what happened was he drowned. He drowned trying to save three children um, that were drowning in a pond. So one of the bystanders that was there quoted him as saying, "I can't swim good, but I've got to save those kids. If I don't come up, get somebody." Um,
Oh wow! I didn't know anything about this guy. I mean, his rookie year was I was two. During his rookie
Yeah,
year.
and I wasn't a football fan, I wasn't a sports fan, so I didn't hear anything about him. This is somebody I've heard of over the last couple of years. They talk about him on the radio station that I listen to all the time.
Yeah, I've heard the name before.
But
Interesting though. I didn't realize he only had 2 years in the league.
yeah,
Like before he died.
hero, he was a hero off the field. He was able to save one of the young men that was drowned, but sadly he was lost, and two of the other boys were lost. So
That's so sad.
somebody we should never forget. So
All right.
anyway.
Wow.
As a father, that's a hard story for me to, you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, I get you. I get you.
So that pretty much wraps up, I think, what we have for this week.
Yeah, we could mention, and maybe we'll talk about it a little bit more next week. Maybe this will be a talking point next week. But the NFL is in trouble, in deep, deep trouble, because of the NFL Sunday ticket. It's looking at them having to possibly pay anywhere from $4 to $16 billion in losses, and everybody who had the NFL Sunday ticket looks to possibly get paid during it too. I don't necessarily agree with it. I think it's a little bit nuts, but we could talk about that a little bit maybe next week. A little teaser, because that is something that could really hurt the NFL. Because we're talking about that much money, I mean, the Cowboys are worth like just under $4 billion, and I think they're the team that's worth the most. So we're talking a lot of money
Yeah.
that could be in trouble here, and could change the way we watch games forever. It's a little interesting, and some little bar started the case. Yeah, so we can maybe talk a little bit more about that next week. And yeah, we're getting closer to training camp, and we're really going to be able to see who's shining out more. We'll get a lot more, a lot more information. So I'm excited as we go forward.
Yeah, the only thing I don't agree with you on the training camp is I don't think we're going to get to see any kind of like trick plays, anything like that. I don't think they're going to show that to the general public, because you never know. I mean, you could have spies from other teams there, that kind of thing. I think that's a closed door type situation. I'd love to see it.
Maybe.
I hope I'm wrong, because it'd be fun to see.
Yeah, I don't know. You're probably right.
I think we're going to see a lot of the basics, a lot of the easy I formation stuff. Nothing crazy. I think that's all going to be closed practice stuff. But hope I'm wrong.
Yeah,
I really do.
All right, well, Buck, where can we find you?
On Twitter at Bucktastic. That's at BUK_TASTIK. And, as always, Facebook.
You can find me on Twitter at Blazin_Bob. It's BLAZZIN_BOB. And you can find us, Buck and Bob, BUK space N space BOB. And that's where you can find us on Facebook, Instagram. Everything's getting there. All of our information to contact us and where is all in the show notes for audio listeners, and in the episode description on YouTube. So check those out if you need to get a hold of us. And we want to hear from you guys. We want topics. We want this show to be more of a conversation, more of a deeper conversation rather than stats.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we don't mind stats, but
yeah,
we want those deeper conversations, and that's what we're here for.
Let's talk as fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks.